All right, so cryptocurrency, it's everywhere you turn these days, right?
Yeah, totally.
It feels like, I don't know, every time I log on to social media, bam, there's another article about Bitcoin or some new coin I've never even heard of.
Right.
And honestly, a little intimidating,
I
right?
can see that. Yeah.
Like everyone else is having these conversations, throwing around terms like blockchain and mining.
Hmm.
Like it's just, I don't know, second nature.
Yeah.
And I'm here like, wait, hold on, back up a little.
Like, what IS all this stuff?
Exactly. Like what is all this stuff?
Exactly.
So that's why we're doing this deep dive. We're cracking the code, demystifying the world of cryptocurrency. And we're starting with this YouTube channel I found.
Okay.
It's all about, crypto, obviously, but they seem to really be focused on the mining aspect of it.
Interesting.
So before we get too far into the weeds, maybe we can start with the basics.
Yeah, sounds good.
For those of us, myself included, who are still wrapping their heads around it, what exactly is cryptocurrency?
Okay, so in the simplest terms, cryptocurrency is basically digital money, right? It exists entirely online.
Right.
But here's what makes it different from, say, the money you see when you log into your bank account online.
Okay, yeah, what's the difference?
Cryptocurrency isn't controlled by any government or any bank.
Okay,
It's completely decentralized.
interesting. So it's not like tied to any one country or currency or anything.
Exactly. It's powered by a network of computers all around the world.
Wow. Okay, so no single entity controls it.
Right, and that's kind of a big deal because it means theoretically no one can just decide to, freeze your assets or censor transactions.
Hmm. Fascinating. So it's like instead of sending a postcard through like the postal system, you're sending a message directly to someone online.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. No middleman.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Okay, so that's cryptocurrency in a nutshell. But, this YouTube channel we're diving into, they keep talking about this other thing, mining.
Right, yeah.
And I got to be honest, when I hear mining, I picture, someone with a pickaxe and a hard hat digging for gold or something.
Yeah, I get that.
But obviously that's not what's happening
Hmm.
here. So what is crypto mining and why is it so important in this whole world?
So mining, it's basically like the backbone of a lot of these cryptocurrencies, especially the big one, Bitcoin.
Okay,
And yeah, it doesn't involve any actual digging.
good, because
They're all digital.
I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, you don't need a hard hat. What it does involve is solving these incredibly complex math problems.
Problem.
Math problems, like really, really hard
I don't
ones.
know. I'm out then. I'm out.
And the thing is, the first computer, or rather the first person who solves that problem, they get rewarded with cryptocurrency.
So it's like a giant Sudoku puzzle, but for internet money.
Kind of. It's a simplification, but yeah, you're on the right track.
Okay, I'll take it.
So you have all these computers around the world. They're competing to solve this puzzle. And by doing that, they're actually helping to verify transactions and add them to the blockchain.
The blockchain. Okay, can we talk about that for a second?
Sure, yeah.
What is the blockchain and why does it matter?
So the blockchain is kind of like, imagine a giant digital ledger.
Okay.
And it's completely public, so anyone can look at it and see all the transactions that have ever happened on that blockchain.
Wait, so you can see every Bitcoin transaction ever made?
For Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all kept secure by cryptography, which is basically just a fancy way of saying really, really strong computer code.
So it's like a super secure, transparent way to track everything.
That's the idea.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about Bitcoin mining, but what about these other cryptocurrencies out there?
Right.
I mean, there's what? Like
Yeah.
thousands of them now, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Are they all about mining? Or are there some key differences we should know about?
That's a great question. So yeah, Bitcoin was the first one, and it's still the biggest, but there are tons of others, and they all have their own quirks.
Quirks, okay.
Some of them use completely different technologies, like instead of mining, they use something called proof of stake, which is way less energy intensive.
Interesting. That's probably a good thing for the environment, right? All that mining can't be great for the planet.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation.
Right. We'll save that for another deep dive.
But yeah, point being, not all cryptocurrencies are created equal. They have different purposes, different strengths and weaknesses. It's still a really new and constantly evolving space.
Right. It's like the Wild West out there.
Kind of. So it's definitely important to do your research before you jump into anything.
Speaking of research, there's one thing I still don't quite get. What makes this, digital gold, quote unquote, actually valuable?
Ah, yes. The million-dollar question.
Right, because unlike, say, the U.S. dollar, which is backed by, well, the U.S. government, cryptocurrency doesn't really have that kind of tangible backing. So what gives it value?
So it's a bit of a complex answer, but basically, the value of a cryptocurrency comes down to a few key factors.
Yep.
One is scarcity. Like with gold, there's a limited supply of most cryptocurrencies. So the rarer something is, the more valuable it tends to be.
Supply and demand, right?
Exactly. Another factor is utility. Can you actually use it to buy and sell things? If people are willing to accept it as a form of payment, that gives it value.
Makes sense.
And then, of course, there's just plain old market demand. If a lot of people believe a cryptocurrency is valuable, they'll invest in it, which drives up the price.
So it's all about perception, really.
To a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why the value of cryptocurrencies can be so volatile. I mean, think about the early days of the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of potential, but also a lot of uncertainty, a lot of hype, and a lot of speculation. Crypto is kind of in that same phase right now.
So basically what you're saying is don't invest your life savings just yet.
Well, that's good advice for any investment, but especially with cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah. Right. Knowledge is power.
Hmm. So what should our listeners know before they, go down this crypto rabbit hole?
I think the biggest thing to remember is that cryptocurrency is still a relatively new technology.
Mm-hmm.
And like with any new frontier, there are going to be risks.
Sure.
It's less regulated than traditional finance, which can be both a good and a bad thing.
Right.
So yeah, education is key. Do your research, learn about the different types of cryptocurrencies, the different ways to invest, and maybe most importantly, only invest what you can afford to lose.
Solid advice.
Yeah.
So to kind of sum all this up, what we've learned today is that cryptocurrency is all about decentralization.
Right.
It uses this cool technology, this blockchain technology, and all this complex cryptography to create this really secure and transparent system.
Yeah. In mining, while it might sound like something straight out of an Indiana Jones film, is actually this really important process that helps keep these cryptocurrencies up and running.
It's fascinating stuff.
It really is. So we're getting to the end of our deep dive here.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for our listeners? Things to ponder as they continue their exploration of this wild world of cryptocurrency.
I think the big question, and it's one we're all still trying to figure out, is if cryptocurrency really represents a fundamental shift in how we think about money and value.
Right. Like, is this the future of finance?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Will we all be using digital-only currencies in the future? Will we see entirely new forms of investment and ways of exchanging value?
It's mind-boggling to think about.
It really is, and that's the exciting part. We're still in the early days. Who knows what the future holds?
That is true. Well, I think that's a perfect note to end on. A little bit of mystery, a little bit of excitement, and a whole lot of potential.
That's crypto for you.
That's crypto for you. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until the next time.
Anytime.